Murray developed some good friendships and connections with the staff at the United States Embassy. They recognized that he and other missionaries were often more in touch with the attitudes and movements within the population than the embassy staff, who were pretty much confined to the cities. With the political education in Murray's past, I'm sure he was a valued advisor. The American Embassy also recognized Murray's effectiveness in targeting of resources, and they valued his direction and guidance in the use of USAID money. I have heard a rumor of something that is not in the book Red Poncho, Big Boots. The rumor is that Murray also worked for the CIA. This was during the time of the ramping up of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. This sounds sinister, especially today. The CIA often relies on expats for information. What I suspect the actual situation was that the personnel at the embassy trusted Murray's input due to his political education and his connection with the people, and Murray simply shared his opinion with these personnel, which most assuredly included members of the CIA. When I asked Maggie about her dad's connection with the CIA, she said that there were probably two sources for these rumors. First, anyone who had any problems with Murray over such things as educating the Indigenous, or even parents whose kids got bad grades, might start such a rumor as a way to discredit him and possibly get him exiled. Such an allegation could have permanently discredited him in the Bolivian society. On the other hand, the CIA's main job is not to change governments, but simply gather information about the country so the U.S. government can know what's going on internally and politically within the country. And Murray was a treasure chest full of information like that. Murray did some things which could be easily misinterpreted as he was working.
My dad, when he died, I found some letters that he kept copies of letters he sent everyone. And I had found letters that he had written to congressmen and senators right around the 52 revolution. And you have to remember that that was also McCarthy era in this country.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
The 1952 land reform redistributed the land, taking land from the Criollo patrons and returning the land to the indigenous people who had farmed it for millennia. Maggie said that her dad's letters strongly encouraged the U.S. government to support the 52 revolution, that it wasn't a communist takeover, but an actual democratization of the nation, and that the U.S. should have a hands-off policy to the revolution. Murray's letters were almost assuredly passed on to policymakers by the CIA or the embassy staff. She also basically confirmed what I expected. Murray was often brought to the U.S. Embassy so that the staff, which obviously included CIA operatives, the staff would ask him questions about what was going on in the country, since so few of the agents were working with the Indigenous. So Murray was never a paid CIA operative, but he did manage to help the U.S. take a hands-off approach and tried to convince the U.S. government that this revolution was not a communist revolution, but an authentic native Bolivian movement that was pushing for democracy. During the demonstrations and riots to bring down the military dictatorships, planes dropped bombs on the protesters in both La Paz and Cochabamba. The people believed that the United States was behind this, since the United States had opposed every previous revolution that demanded equality for the indigenous. However, modern U.S. political historians have written that the 1952 land reform revolution is the only truly grassroots revolution that was supported by the United States from the beginning to the end. I've often wondered if Murray quietly and secretly met with U.S. officials and helped them understand that Estanzaro and Silas Wazo were not communists, and that they were graduates of the American Institute and just trying to bring some beginning of equality and ending the odd form of slavery that existed in Bolivia. There's no evidence of this. However, as we have seen, there is some significant circumstantial evidence that that might be true. If it is true, then Murray played an even more important role in the life of Bolivia than we have thought before.